so happy to have her today on this Facebook group because she got a buttload of agent and manager meetings, and how she did it was so honest to herself. At least that's how I'll describe it. I'll let her describe it for you. And moving through with so much authenticity that I think it can help you see yourself in her process. So today I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see like how possible it is to find managers and agents that can really work for you, that you can feel good about, and that you can go through this process with kind of at your own pace, and also with a sense of being supported. So I wanted to have Sawyer to talk about that. And Sawyer, so tell us a little bit about, I know we just said this because we had our weird technical glitch, but tell us a little bit like what your day looked like today, because I guess you had kind of a unique day.
Yes, I did. So at the beginning of this week on Monday, I was not super stoked, but I was like, easy week, easy peasy, just have a doctor's appointment on Thursday. And by yesterday, I had a voiceover audition. I have lots of auditions, like voiceover auditions. I'm very thankful for that. But I had a booking, and then a voiceover booking, and then a co-star audition on camera, and a series regular audition.
Oh, just a series regular.
Just a series regular, which is crazy because I'll get into that later, but I met with a lot of people that are like, you don't have that much on your, resume. Like, we'll have to send you out only for industrials and stuff. And now I'm with this manager who thinks I can like lasso the moon and like, do everything. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love that. And I also love that you just gave us a little bit of a window into the different things you were hearing along your journey. So different people saying different things to you, which I think is so like good, because I think we need to be able to hear other people's opinions, but also that you kept your feet on the ground to like land with the right person. So tell us your results. Tell us about how you landed this. Is the manager or agent? Remind me.
Manager.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about how that came to be.
Yeah. So way back when in April, many years ago, I honestly
feels like it, right? Yeah. Feels like it.
Thousands of years ago. No, but this sounds like a movie, but this is really what happened, where it was quarantine. I was kind of just like at the end of my rope. I was really fed up. I just dropped another manager who I'd signed with for a year, and I realized were just kind of using me for my voiceover residuals. It wasn't very nice. Things were sad. I was sad. And literally like the angels heard me, and you popped up on my Facebook timeline when I was doom scrolling, just scrolling, just scrolling my day away. And I literally rolled over and I was like, if I'm going to do, this is it. This is it. Like, this is my last try, because
whoa.
This is, I didn't tell you because that's a lot of pressure for you, obviously. But, I really I'd done workshops, I'd done seminars, I've reached out to family, friends. I even did my own version of sending out emails, but I realized I did it totally wrong. It was like very like, hi, I'm Sawyer, these are my materials, goodbye. And like, of course, no one responded to that because that's weird. So
everyone who's listening, please listen to that, because there could be people out there who think like writing the short and sweet thing is the thing. And it's not it's actually not that possible. Yeah.
I did like my whole email campaign, and like nobody responded. And I was like, this is it. I'm going to do this course, and I really don't want to do it. I really didn't. Like, I didn't want to put in the work. I was like, I don't want to do it. This sounds stupid, but I'm going to do it anyways. And then I'm going to give up and become an accountant or a flight attendant. No offense to those people, but I was like, I'll do something else. I'll figure it out. Anyways, flash forward to, I started it, and I was like, wow, it really did resonate with me. I cried a lot. Good cry and bad cry. There's the one part where writing our story where you said, don't skip it. And then I tried to skip it, and we got to the next part, and I was like, I have to do it. So I had to go back, and I did it, and I really did it.
You were like, you extra did it. Now you're like going on hyperdrive.
Now that I went on, I wrote like 15 pages, like tiny font. I did it. I gave it to my friends and my family and some other actor friends and my boyfriend. And I burned it, and I really got into it. And
what did that give you? Just tell us a little about what that gave you to do that.
It was interesting because, again, I don't know why I was so headstrong, but I was like, this is stupid. I just had that like, because I'm not going to lie. Like, I was like, this is dumb. But doing that afterwards, I was like, there was kind of like the little Sawyer in the back of my head, like told, the voice, like, yeah, you knew that was good. And it felt like I was finally able to like take hold and take responsibility for where I was in my life, because I kept blaming, oh, the pandemic, or oh, something happened, something bad happened, you know, this came up, I got a bad haircut, like anything I could to kind of offset my own responsibility for my future and my career. And this was like, oh shit, like, oh, sorry, but like grab the reins and I'm in charge. I'm riding the horse and this is it. You know, we're in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love what you're saying, because I'm hearing you say that, like, going through that exercise actually, and this just so briefly for anyone to give you context and who's listening, is like in Agent Goals, one of the processes we go through is kind of understanding and capturing your actor story. And then as you're doing that, you're noticing, where did I actually show up? Where did I not show up? Where did something that happened to me leave a mark or leave a scar? And what I'm hearing you say through this is, I started to like own, like, I do have skin in the game. Like,
Yeah.
it isn't only like what's happening to me. Like, there is part, and I'm hearing, I think in this is also like, you were aware of the times that you stepped up. You suddenly became aware of, like, I showed up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
So okay, so let me let you carry on. So the story happened. You did the story.
Yeah. The story happened. I was like bang on, going with the flow. And then July hit and I was just like, I'm out of energy. I'm kind of out of ammo. I fell off the wagon. I purposely hid the group notifications on my timeline. I was like, I felt like I was like running away from something and I like couldn't get on Facebook because I knew the post would show up and I was feeling guilty every time someone posted, because people from April were getting agents and stuff. And it's because I wasn't at home in LA. I was somewhere else. So I didn't feel like I could really show up for my self tapes. Doesn't mean I couldn't do the work, but again, another
Right.
excuse. I'm not there. I can't do it, you know? So excuse. I totally fell off the wagon. July.
What brought you back?
So I forget, I think Sophie Overwater, shout out.
Yeah.
She reached out to me about something and I was like, you know what? Like, there are other people who are doing this and like making their dreams happen and like come true. And like, and I kind of, you know, I didn't berate myself that much, but I was like, what are you doing? Like, you worked hard for this. And I think I got scared of how vulnerable I was becoming and how open and how like I was really showing up, that I was like, no, too much. And I really pulled back and I retreated within myself. And so I unmuted all the groups and that kind of became like every time I would log on to Facebook to try to doom scroll, there'd be like, look at my self tape, look at this email. And I would feel bad. And I was like, I don't want to feel bad anymore. So I sat down one day and I think, so that was Thanksgiving, November. It took that long. It was like August to November was this like.
But also, I want to just clock this, because I think this is really important, because I think a lot of people worry about that happening.
Yeah.
Particularly when they're like doing a program, or even when they're on the bandwagon looking for managers and agents. It's so easy to be like, this is too intense, I bail. Right? They bail at the end, or they bail in the middle, or I've gotten too vulnerable here, right? And I think what I'm hearing you say is, I always say this is like, the course, right? It's going to be it's in the matter of time that it's meant to take is the matter of time you're going to use to take it. Because while we both know it's about getting managers and agents, what you're also saying is this is a personal growth journey, and we can't dictate the timeline for that. And so that you needed to retreat or cocoon or reinvigorate, and maybe you needed to get a little angry at yourself for like taking it easy. Like, that was not taking it easy, for pulling back and go through and then come back, I think is actually very healthy way to do it. And I think that's not what people expect. Like, no, do it like this. It goes boop, 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 one, right? And I think like because the point of the whole thing is, at the end of this, obviously you would have been able to have great meetings if you didn't feel healthy.
Right. Oh yeah.
You would have been a crap actor sitting across from, or zooming across from a manager agent. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking too, I was like, if I just blazed on ahead, I was like, no, it's like, have you ever, you know, I also paint and I relate a lot of that. I don't know if other people are creators and stuff, but when I'm frustrated with the painting and I keep painting, it's going to be awful. I have to take time off. Like, I have to step back and be like, because if I try to fix it. And so I think that time, yes, I didn't have to take that long, maybe, but that time was good because I did get to self-reflect. There was a week where I just sat by the pool and I just read a book and I drank some margaritas and I hung out and I did nothing. And I was like mad at myself, but at the same time, I got back after doing that and I did yoga and meditation, some self-reflection. I went hiking, I did all this random stuff. that was honestly helpful for me to take that break. So I came back and I was like guns blazing, refreshed, more invigorated, and like more ready to attack it, as opposed to being worn out. Cause it's a lot, especially if you were kind of, as I call, like emotionally constipated as I was, where you have to get through a lot of stuff where it's exhausting. It's nice to take a break. And I think a lot of people need that.
So when you came back on, so you came back in November, you were coming back like, okay, I'm going to do this. Someone else from the group reached out to you, which I think is such a testament to the community, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
We want you here. They noticed you were there and not there, right? Because
Totally.
you came back in November, and in November you were like, it was like, you were like done in 2 seconds after November. So like, tell us what that. Okay.
Yeah. So I got back, and then I did we did study hall and the accountability, where I was like, I'm going to do my self-tapes this day, my self-tapes this day. And actually my self-tapes were a nightmare, like a walking nightmare.
So let me just pause here. So what I'm hearing you say is, I came back to the group. So this is a way to invigorate people. Like if you're doing anything and you fall off the bandwagon, I always feel like accountability, which isn't your own, like putting it out loud in the group, you said, I'm going to do this by this date. Right. Yep. And so that made you say, okay, I'm buckled back in. I got my seatbelt back on. I'm in the car. Let's go back in there. So without getting too deeply into the weeds, you had shitty self-tapes, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So I just did my self-tapes 4 different times. And every single time, technical difficulties. One time I had a Jolly Rancher before, for some reason. I had a red tongue, so had to scrap all those just like little things that were just like a Seinfeld episode. And all during that, I was like, this is a sign from the gods. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, no, so did all those, finally got one.
Okay, pause. What I'm hearing inside of this is, I took my self-tapes really seriously, and I knew when they weren't good enough.
Yep.
I paused for the cause, and I reshot them when they needed to be reshot,
yes.
because I knew
no rushing
up to my standards.
Yes. Because I knew this was like my shining star. And I was like, this is okay. And I was like, well, do I want to send someone like, here's my okay self-tape? Like, no. So I really took the time. I met with my coach multiple times. I did it multiple times. And again, kind of like the break, I was like, I'm so glad. I felt like I was beating it to death, but at the same time, I kept becoming more familiar with the material. So I was so off book and so natural, by that time. I was like, oh, that was good. That was a blessing. So submitted my self-tapes, sent you my email, got all that together. And
just
then,
so we're kind of clear, so where people are listening don't get confused, is inside of your goals, which is how Sawyer managed this process, is she sent me her email and then I edited it just to make it even more gorgeous. I give everyone my seal of approval before they send it out. Okay, great. Okay, and then you sent it out, and then tell us what happened.
Sent it out, and then immediately that day, it was like bing, bang, 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 good and bad. The good, not bad, but actually.
Tell us both. No, bad are really helpful. I think you have to get bad emails.
Yes.
To do a good job doing this process.
Some people are so mean. They are just so mean that I wanted to like call them and be like, are you all right? Like, I just sent you an email, and anger. Some people were really mad. And then some people were like delighted, delightful, just true. And I have to also shout out Sarah Erickson, because she helped me with Yam. Yep. I could never have done Yam without her. Right. And she also—
So everybody knows who's listening, Yam is a mail merging software that just helps you to send individual emails so that it can be personalized. Yeah. And now inside of the program, we have a little training all about it, just so you know, Sawyer. Great. But yes, and Sarah inspired us too. So props to Sarah Erickson for sure.
Yes. And she told me too, just because we were chatting on the phone, about the mean email she got. And I was just like, if she didn't tell me that, I would have been like, I failed the course. I failed, because you're expecting, you put all this love and heart and soul into this email, that someone emails you back. One person was like, you clearly have no training. This is not a disgrace, but it sounded like some weird, like medieval. I should have read the email to read it back, but it was like, I was like, and so I just stepped away from my computer. I was like, that's it for maybe an hour. I'm not going to read any more responses. Yeah. And then I came back and I had more good. I only had 2 like really mean ones, but overall,
I just want to pause for the mean. Let's just be careful, because I want to make sure people were listening. Like when you reach out to managers and agents, remember that there are going to be people who say, I don't like how you did this. Yeah. And you should do it this way. And they might even say something like, I've seen other people send things like this, and I don't like the way they're doing it. Right. Mm-hmm. And we have to know that you are not doing your job if everyone likes it. And you're never going to be able to sort through the yeses and nos if everyone's I don't think everyone ever gets all yeses, but like, it just lets you know your yeses are going to mean that much more if you got some nos that were like, hell no, or like, this is wrong. And to me, one of the things I think is important about kind of the process you're outlining, it is the process in agent goals, is our process tends to attract the more compassionate managers and agents, because of, which doesn't mean you might have a value around, I don't care if my manager or agent's compassionate, right? So like, this does set you up to have that kind of manager or agent, I would say, because you're putting your heart on the line, is what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Okay,
attracted those people.
So you had 18 meetings.
Yeah, so 18 meetings, one right after the other. And some people were like, hey, can you hop on the phone right now? And I was like, yes, I can,
Yeah.
And it's kind of, there are obviously pros and cons to Zoom. But I really liked it because I could plot myself down in my pajama bottoms and a nice top and just take meeting after meeting after. I didn't have to drive, I didn't have to find parking. And I'm in my space, with my things and I can go get a snack if I wanted to. And it was really nice. And
I mean, wait, can you just think about going to 18 meetings in real life though? Like, you'd want to die after the first 5 because of the traffic. Yeah. So yes.
Just the traffic. And even some people I met, and immediately I was like, I don't think we'd be a good fit just because I didn't get that feeling. So if I had driven all the way to, I don't know, Woodland Hills and done that, I would have been like, so this was really nice.
So, I think I'm going to interrupt you because I think you identified something really big, which is a good thing maybe to come out of the pandemic, is seeing more meetings come over the phone and over Zoom, is when you get yourself all dressed up, you drive to a meeting, you have to go to the place, park in a weird spot, or if you're on the subway and you're going to a different neighborhood you don't go to, and then what's the building? I have to give my driver's license at the front gate before I go upstairs to the 11th floor, to like all that extra energy that goes around that can make you leave that meeting, especially if it wasn't a great one, feeling like, what did I do all that for?
Yeah.
Right. It's a little bit like the shitty audition, but it's even bigger because it's like so much more attached to your whole career. So I think that there's one good thing that kind of we can take from this is like, maybe we'll have a lot more meetings in this new, more electronic way. So that's such an important takeaway here. Thank you for going through this step by step, because I'm hearing a lot of great things I don't want anybody to miss.
Yeah. Great. And then some on the phone, and then some people I met on the phone and they had really liked me and offered me something, but still I was just like, can I meet you on Zoom? And when I met them on Zoom, they showed up as a kind of a different person, or one was even better than I expected. So I think it is important to see the face and to chat and talk. But
Sawyer, wait, I love that you did that. I love that you like said to them, hey, can we actually do a Zoom meeting now that we've had a meeting? And like, so what was that like for you to tap into that part of your agency? Like, I'm going to have agency for myself and ask for what I want. What was that like?
It was hard because I am like a no conflict person. I like, don't want trouble, don't want to cause a scene, don't want, so it really took a lot for me to kind of ask for what I want. But I think agent goals also helped me become more gracious with myself, to be like, it's okay. Like, ask for it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They say no.
Right. Did anyone say no? It sounds like no one said no.
No. They were all like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, I should do that. Why didn't I think of that? And I was like, that's probably, you probably want to see the person, but
awesome.
Whatever.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it was time to make decisions, I imagine, right?
Yes. Decision time, which was.
Wait, how many offers did you get?
So I had, I think 12 or 13.
Oh my God. So wait, talk to us about this. When you were going to the meetings, when you logged on or picked up the phone, were you already getting the sense that it was a yes? Was it more like a let's just seal the deal here? Or what was that like?
Yeah, most of them were kind of like the thing that everyone tells you to remember for callbacks. Like, they already like you. They responded to the email. All you have to do is keep doing what you did. So be yourself, obviously. Most of them were like that. The emails, the responses were a little bit more cold. And so then the video was a bigger kind of higher stakes, nothing horrible, but they'd be like, they sent like a quick email from their phone, like, email looks great, meet tomorrow, Zoom. And I was like, okay. So I had to kind of show up more, I feel like, for that mentally. But other ones, it was like getting on and talking to an old friend. And we would chat about, why can't I speak? The election was happening. So we were talking about the election. We were chatting about, one manager and I watched the election results come in together.
Wow.
He turned his thing and we were just like,
oh my God.
Yeah. So, it was just, it was a wide array of things. But a lot of them, every meeting I took through Zoom or a phone call like that, I got an offer. Usually they'd be like, okay, so I'll send you the contract goodbye. And I was like, what?
Okay.
Like,
Oh, awesome. So wait, how
yeah.
do you think you showed up to make it that possible that the answer was already a yes? What do you think was some of the key things you can take away from that?
I think because I worked so hard on my email and I worked so hard on the front end that it was like I felt like I didn't have to do anything, if that makes sense. Like I could just show up to the meetings and they already had such a sense of who I was because I had, cut away at this email and really chipped away and poured my personality into it that it wasn't like I showed up. My big thing with managers and agents would I would always show up and they would say my pictures don't match my personality. Oh, you don't look funny. You're too pretty to be funny. All that sort of thing. Like, oh, we thought you would sound different. So when I showed up, no one was surprised. Nobody was taken
So what
aback.
I remember about your email so much is that we made that point in your email.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing that's easy to discredit about me because funny is my number one way that I go. And like, this
Yeah.
is what you're going to know about me. And I love funny, smart women. I think we said something about that in there, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm also hearing you say around the front end, reason why you got to go to the meetings is let's not diminish your self-tapes either, because you were saying, I did so much work on my email. Like, hello, your self-tapes are great, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
what I'm hearing you say is, I showed up so much in the materials that I gave them beforehand that they already knew what they were getting.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, I like the way you're saying this. Is almost like they had to just verify that everything they imagined about you was true.
Yeah.
You filled in all the lines in between so that there was no confusion as to who you were.
Yeah. It was like, when you read a book and you imagine what the characters look like, and then you watch the movie and you're like, that's them. I knew that. Like, I knew who that person, like
Harry Potter might be the only movie that works for me.
Yes, I was going to say, I think only Harry Potter, but that it was just that. And I was like, yes, boy scar, glasses. That's him. I knew it. And so, yeah, the self-tapes included when I was saying my email, like the big chunk of everything. But I really worked hard, and not in a horrible way. But I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, I can't remember the last time I worked so hard on like something that seemed so, just sending an email, just sending.
That's the shit that I'm saying bad words out. That's the shit that gets people in trouble, I think, actually, because they think I'm just going to send an email and if I don't get called in by that email, then that means something is wrong with me, or my materials aren't good enough. They can write a whole story, which can take them decades to get over, and they maybe never even figure it out, even when they get reps. Because the truth is, if you are not helping us connect the dots to who you are in your resume and why it's as far along as it is, and not about how flashy your credits are, but just like who you are, it's so easy to think that just an email alone is the answer here when it isn't. It's like one piece of this, and your self-tapes had to align with what was going on in your email so that we could make, do you know what I mean? So kudos to you. So tell us about the decision-making process.
Yeah, so it was hard because, again, like it was good stress. I call it good stress. It's like all the self-tapes, because I really didn't know. And I talked with you, I talked to Sarah at length, and it was interesting because you guys made me realize that I wasn't, by saying no to everybody else, it wasn't like, well, screw you, no, goodbye, I hate you. It was more, I'm still in contact with two of the managers who I said no to. They emailed me for New Year's, I emailed them for Christmas. We are chatting, we follow each other on Instagram, we message, and I was worried that I'd make this horrible, wrong decision. And I was afraid to be like signing my life away. I've never even signed a contract.
Right. That's typical, which I think also, like, if I can just diminish that myth, like lots of places don't make you actually sign something. And we're like, did you get to sign with them? And I always think of sign with them as like a metaphor for working with them, as opposed to thinking, because the signing doesn't always happen. But what you're saying, I think about this is, by saying no to them, I wasn't saying, I did such a good job of being a human being through my saying no, that I am now still in contact with them, and we are now connected as a network, right? This is the definition of networking, right? So let's pretend we don't wish this, something didn't work out with your manager. You would know where to go knocking on next to say like, hey, actually things changed. He got pregnant, whatever.
Yeah, so it was kind of freeing. I was like, oh, like, it's no wrong answer. And to format the emails too, the way I used your same kind of email formatting, this with graciousness, and it wasn't just like, sorry, no from me. I said, you were so great. I really enjoyed when we watched the election results together, but it's just not a fit. And they were like, oh, thank you so much. I only wish you success. They were all wishing me success and happiness and abundance. And I was like, you guys are so nice. Like,
Yeah, like, what I'm hearing you also say here is like, it rewrote in my mind what I used to tell myself about managers and agents.
yes, they are like, especially now that I follow them on Instagram, I was like, oh, they eat fast food and they like to take a day off. And I imagine these like people in high towers making decisions with golden pencils and pens. And it's like, it really humbled my entire world. I know that sounds dramatic, but acting, I always thought of this like lofty world this inner circle I could never break into. And being an actor is so much more than just managers and signing and papers and auditions and bookings. It really opened up my viewpoint. It opened up how I thought about myself, about my career. Yeah. So
And so you made a decision
yeah,
to work,
made a
right?
decision.
And that's how you have all these auditions today.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. And can you tell me, what is one thing, is there a specific part of agent goals, you kind of talked about a few of them, that you feel like helped you the most? What would that be and why?
Well, I love how it was laid out. Like I said, I'm the type of person that loves like this is this, and it's laid out in a very digestible way, which I really enjoyed. And that coupled with the groups and the study halls and the accountability, because I've taken courses before where it's like, here's the course, goodbye. I don't know who the teacher is. I don't know who else is taking the class. And so much, I do a lot of comedy classes, and so much of why I love Groundlings and UCB is because I have that sort of network of people. Those are my people, and you can bounce ideas. And I never had that before with acting on camera, besides college. But that once you graduate, you're like, okay, goodbye. So that I talked about that, the accountability, and even just people checking in, like, hey, feeling sad today. Anybody else feeling sad? And I'm like, I'm feeling sad. And someone else, me too, I feel sad. Like, what are you doing that you're sad? And it's just, it's really nice. And I think that really helped me because I'm the type of person that thrives off of that sort of constant little nudges and pushes. It was never too much where it was like, wow, this group is like overwhelming. This course is overwhelming. It was just enough.
I love what you're saying here, because what I'm taking away from this is, like, I like that it was a buttoned up, here's step one, here's step two course, because that works for me as a student, right? Like that works for you as a student, and made it clear for you. And then the other thing is that, and this Facebook group is like the most lit Facebook group. Like, I feel like blessed from the gods. Like, they're like, I'm having a crap day today. Anyone else? Or like, I just did this and I'm so excited. Like people are there for each other in a way I've never seen before. And it feels like the benefit that no one expects inside of how to get the support. And the truth is, every single person inside this course is putting their heart on the line. And so I think it's so important to have that support around you. So here's a question. I think you nailed this a bit, but let's see if there's anything else you wanted to add. What did you learn about yourself through this process?
Oh gosh. I mean, so much that it's interesting that I realized how small I made myself, which is funny because I'm so tall. But I really like kind of diminished myself. I like distilled myself to this one thing, like Sawyer Greenberg, actor, like, and and I realized how multifaceted, but also how much I have to give, and learning about myself through my story and how far I've come and what I've done. Because I think a lot of acting, like you said, is like, look at my resume. This is who I am. This is my everything. And I don't have a lot of credits because I took different paths. I did comedy, so many different things. But that was my worth, my credits. And I was like, wait a second, like I've done so much and I have so much to offer. And I realized this spark kind of reignited in me where I really realized what I loved about acting, all the different facets, comedy, drama, how many different ways and how much I really did love it. It was like re-meeting myself, just through the course as a whole, groups and everything.
Wow, that's beautiful the way that you said it's like re-meeting myself, because there's kind of a thread running through a little bit of what you said is I put acting on a pedestal in one land, or acting in the business on a pedestal, and then the other is that like acting is such art, like the way you talk about painting, right? That it is dirty and it is getting on the ground and it is finding feet, like that is the other thing I'm feeling you hear through this? And like, it sounds like you re-met that truth of what acting is when you describe it.
Yeah, because I have been doing this since I was little. I did musical theater, and so it was kind of just people like, how'd you start acting? And honestly, for me, it was like, it's something I've always done. And that doesn't sound very exciting. It's not like, oh, Martin Scorsese found me on a pedestal, on a stoop, but it's literally just like, I've always done it. I've just always acting in any form of musical theater or film and TV, commercials, now voiceover. And so that kind of, I feel like lost its shine for me because I was like, it's always, I've done it. It's what I've done. And I was like, wait, but why? Like, why have I done it? And this helped me discover that why.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So this is so helpful. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the person who might be watching right now, who might be saying, yeah, it worked for her, but it won't work for me. Or like not agent goals, but like a process that we're talking about, or even like, yeah, she can get reps, but I can't because of all the number of reasons. She looks like this, she talks like this, she has this background, she has this, like all the stories that we can tell because we're so quick.
Yeah.
To write off a situation. If there's that person out there who is just feeling, I'm not saying that to put you on a spot, like you are bad, right? Okay. But like there are people who are watching who might feel discouraged or something, like I'm not right. What message do you want them to take away from this conversation?
So, and I'm not just saying this, but I was that person. Like I said at the beginning, I was like, this is stupid. This can't work for me. I would look at people and then I would like that you had interviewed and I would look back at what they did. And I was like, well, I didn't go to NYU, I could never be her. And it's like, be quiet, I mean that with love, but tell yourself like quiet, because I thought the same thing. And because of the way that this program is designed, I think with the methodical, step-by-step for the methodical peoples, and then it has that coupling of the free-flowing group, you go at your own pace. It really is for everyone, because also I've met tons of people in this program from all walks of life, all ages, all gender, everyone from some people have taken 10 years off. Some people have started acting yesterday and they have found success, not in like, some people are still going through it. So not success in the way where it's like they signed with an agent, they're happy and they're on series regular, but they have figured out again their love of acting and have gone through it. And I really have not. I've seen success in like all different forms, not just the success that we see. I feel like in the media is like, oh, she was discovered and hit #1 and now she's famous and she lives in a mansion. Like that's not really it. And I realized that success does not mean that. And by meeting all these people and getting exposed to all this, I was like, oh my gosh, like there really is something for everyone. I truly believe it because I've seen it and I know all the people. Not all of the people, but most of the people. I'm familiar with them on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're saying also, that toxic myth of being discovered, that toxic myth of like, I didn't put any work into it. And then also, I think you just tapped into something which I think is a great way to kind of leave this conversation, which is the power of witnessing other people going through this process at their own pace.
Yeah.
Wherever they are. And that's both in this program and outside of this program. Just like by doing this at your own pace, we get to see where you have your own hangups, what you learn about yourself, how you meet yourself again, which is such a beautiful way to describe this.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give you some time to go put yourself together for your series regular. I think you have to do that still today. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still daylight.
It's still daylight. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, just so much for spending this time with me and for trusting in the process. I think that's one of the things that I ask of everyone is to trust in this process, because you're going to have to blow through old ideas of thinking about the way the world works, and then trusting in yourself. So that's been great to witness, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Really. Right. It was this group, and you guys are just a constant blessing. So I'm really thankful for you guys too.
Happy Inauguration Day.
Thank you too.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.